Hey, what's up? So, as someone that would call themselves a recovering people pleaser, I think that, I talked about putting up boundaries and boundary statements. And I wrote about in my Substack how boundaries can feel foreign, especially if you don't know like your values and your truths and what really aligns for you. And then I started thinking about when I really started doing like my healing journey. I feel like it started on the mat with yoga, right? But then it was about like self-inquiry. Self-inquiry really like opened my eyes to some things. So self-inquiry, atma, vichara. In Sanskrit, it means, atman means the self or soul, and vichara means thought, deliberation, analysis. So it's essentially like, self-investigation. When I learned about the concept of self-inquiry, something kind of clicked in me. It's like, like this idea that like you're not actually, it's like asking yourself, who am I? And when we're asked that since we're little, like if someone says, who are you? You would say like, I'm Anna, right? Or I'm Scrappy. And when we identify with these things that have been put on us, like labels, like the helper, the healer, someone that can hold a lot of space for others, the martyr kind of vibe of like, the one that puts everyone above themselves, right? It's these self-identifications or these identifications that have been put on us that start to create like this box. I was taught at a young age to be quiet or be helpful. Part of my self-identification as an adult was I'm a little shy. I'm the quiet one. I don't have really an opinion. I like to keep the peace around. But that wasn't really who I was. That's not my truth. And also that's not who I am, right? Like to the core, I am a beautiful, complex, cosmic soul being, just witnessing it all. And sometimes I get stuck in the identifications. That's the truth. That's what I've come to realize. And I think that's what self-inquiry like really makes you look and say like, who am I to my core? I think that's where like the values come in, knowing what you stand for and what you're not willing to stand for. And that's where the boundaries come in, right? For me, it was like major part of the healing process is like, I didn't want to identify as the person that puts everyone above themselves anymore. I didn't want to do that anymore because it was like killing me slowly, and I was taught that self-sacrifice was normal, but that's not true, so I love self-inquiry because it's just a beautiful thing and it's a very expansive thing and it takes you out of these like labels that you might have put yourself in or that might have been put on you that you're just like you've become an agreement to, and you're like, oh, that's not my truth. That's not actually what I believe in. And I listened to Ram Dass yesterday. It was from Here and Now, episode 299, listening to your unique manifestation. And what I really loved about what he said is that, like everyone is expecting certain consistency. He was talking about how he said, oh, I want to be a doctor. I'm going to be a doctor someday, or I want to be a doctor when he was really little. And then all of a sudden there's all these pressures put on that, he got all the tools to be a doctor, even like if they're playthings, right? And then it's like all the expectations, like all of a sudden, like it's all this on him to be a doctor. And the truth is that like the form is ever changing. We're ever changing. What once served us may not continue to serve us. Like the people-pleasing roles that I played in those labels and self-identifications, they served me because they kept me safe for a long time. But then at a certain point, they weren't. They were actually like ruining me because I didn't know who I was. And that's also why self-inquiry was like, oh my God, like really, who am I? Right? And I feel like it really awoken my soul to a lot, and I have to come back to this because it's this remembrance that I am not this body. I am not the things I do or the jobs I have. I'm not the roles I play, the things I don't do, right? Like, I am just like, I am the observer of it all. Like, the truest consciousness is we are the observer of it all, and there's the truth of oneness with it all. Like, we're all truly connected. We're all just like truly connected in this higher cosmic view of it all. But we forget when we identify with these very specific labels. We get so identified with these labels and boxes that we forget that we are all still human beings, and that we all, I think, generally desire the same things, right? Love and connection, right? Having good food, being able to have like a roof and protection around us, like having community, having safety, like all the things that we identify with is something that was passed down to us. We've learned, we've seen through our environment. It's like we don't learn, your thinking is not in a vacuum, right? Like we are the results of our environment and like our genetics and our chemistry, right? So it's like, yeah. But deep to our root, like we are all the same. And one last thing that Ram Dass said that I really liked is that your dharma is what brings you home to truth, to oneness, back into unity, past the illusion of separation. It's like, you know, like all the things that we've been taught in our lives, it like carves this river. So your family, your nervous system, what you had to become to survive, and your dharma is what keeps pulling you back to the underneath truth, like of it actually all. These things have happened to you, but that isn't who you are. You're so much bigger than that. And I think that is so beautiful. And I think that as someone, recovering people pleaser, someone that didn't even know themselves or their boundaries, to someone that is, I know my deepest truths and I forget, but I do know it. I do know that I am so much more than I can even conceptualize, because, you know, everything around us is busy and it can cause this, it's just distractions from like our highest truth. And I think that coming back to that reminder is really powerful. And I think that's where self-inquiry can be really impactful. I wrote one more thing about this, and we had an assignment, and it was like, what's your own experience with self-inquiry as a practice of choice? And I wrote that it's allowed me to detach from labels, it's opened up my mind, body, soul to further expansion, and it's removed walls and boxes placed around me, or that I kind of put up. And yeah, I think that if you're trying to figure shit out and you're still a little lost, which I still feel kind of lost sometimes, we're finding our way. Like, self-inquiry is a cool place to begin, really asking yourself who you are. And, you know, for a while, I'll just give one more anecdote and end this. It was really hard for me to own both the science, being a scientific like witch. Like, it's hard for me to own both being into science and spirituality, because with behavioral work, it is a science, it's an applied knowledge, and there's certain criteria for it to be behavioral work. But within the witchy work I do, which is so misunderstood to many still, it's changed my life. So within self-inquiry, I had to realize I labeled so deeply with just being a behavior analyst within like my work, and also being fearful about combining both a science and more magic. But in reality, we're ever changing. That is the truth. And I connected with both. So I'm here now realizing, who am I? Well, I'm a multi-complex being that wants to help others heal themselves by showing people what I have done to heal the darker parts of myself because of what I've been through. And through self-inquiry, I've learned to accept that I am not what has been done to me, that I'm not the trauma, that I'm not the triggers, and I'm much more expansive than that. And I'm capable of doing what my heart desires. When we put ourselves in those boxes, that's when the limits take over. That's when we get stuck, and that's when we don't grow or heal. We just keep looking at the boxes, right? So, yeah. That's my reflections on self-inquiry. Okay. Let me know your thoughts. Okay, love you. Bye.